call those state legislators, whoever is your representative, and have them come to the school and sit down in a classroom and teach that person the truth. Those state legislators need to be re-educated. If you haven't read The Color of Law, get the book The Color of Law and read it. And you'll find out that most of the laws that we have governing segregation, most of the segregation in this country is de jure segregation, put in place by lawyers who have never learned the truth about race. They've never learned that there's only one race, and we're all members of it. It's the human race. They've never read the book Sapiens, so they don't really know what's going on. They need to know that we are all members of the same race, and we've got to stop legislating in ways that promote the idea of several different races. Legislators who, for instance, we have what is arguably the least effective, the least democratic, the least patriotic governor of any state in the United States right now. She's a person who obviously doesn't know about the difference between humans and races. And she is following the party line that says there are several different races, and the less color you have in your skin, the more intelligent you are. Well, she's wrong. She needs to be re-educated. We need to re-educate our legislators. We need to re-educate our police departments. We need to re-educate our educators. We need to re-educate our administrators. They have learned the lie all their lives. It's time for us to refuse to continue to support that lie. There's a book that everybody needs to read, another book that everybody needs to read, and now somebody's saying, I don't have to read, I've got my hand. Yeah, you've got that thing in your hand. But there isn't enough information in that thing in your hand to teach you what you need to know. Get a book. Get the book. First, get the book, Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization by Anthony Broder. Oh my God. Are you aware that 4,000 years before the birth of Jesus Christ, people in the Nile Valley, which is a country, which is Egypt, which is a country in Africa, were doing cataract surgery with metal instruments before such a thing was ever heard of in Asia or in Europe or in the Americas, 4,000 years before the birth of Jesus Christ. Why don't we learn about that in the schools? Because if we did, we would have to admit that all those wonderful things like the calendar, like writing, like numeration systems, all those wonderful things came to us from the Nile Valley, which is in Egypt, which is a country in Africa. We talk about Egypt as if it is part of the Middle East because we don't want to admit that we got all those wonderful things from people of color. You've got to start teaching your children the truth. Every child has the right to know that their ancestors who came from Africa all those years ago may have mated with Neanderthals, but most of the Neanderthals died out. The Africans are still alive, and the Africa in us is still alive. Kids need to realize that and to appreciate that and to be proud of it instead of pretending that it didn't happen. There's another thing we need to do. If you teach Sunday school, get a picture of Jesus that looks like Jesus. Now, in the Bible, it says that Jesus had feet of bronze and kinky woolly hair. You don't see a picture of Jesus that looks like that unless you go to a black church. We need to realize that one of the major differences between white folks, what we call white folks, and people of other color groups is when we melanemic people come into a new environment, the first thing we do is change the environment to fit our needs. When people of color come into a new environment, they immediately change their needs to fit the environment. And because we are melanemic people, we think they should change their color to fit our needs. I know mothers and fathers who say that their little dark-skinned children have been putting bleach on their arms in order to change the color of their arms so that they can look like the accepted color in the classroom. This has to stop. Kids have to know that your skin color is the result of your body's adaptation to the natural environment, to the physical environment, has nothing to do with being members of different races, has nothing to do with the shape of your brain or how smart you are. We've got to stop indicating that we think that in order to be right, you have to be white. We have to stop that kind of education because it is miseducation, and it is not education for the future. It wasn't even good education for the past.